Mai Valentine is probably the most well-known female character in Yu-Gi-Oh! And that makes sense. She's a fan favorite whose deck personality and, visual appeal captured the hearts of people all around the world. But unfortunately, while Mai is awesome, that didn't save her from the anime giving her possibly one of the biggest character assassinations the Yu-Gi-Oh! Franchise has ever seen. And no, I'm not talking about the Orichalcos arc, but trust me, we'll talk about that one later. First example comes in Duelist Kingdom, right after Yugi loses to Kaiba after he threatens to send himself to the Shadow Realm. Afterwards, while Yugi is understandably upset at the fact that he just lost the chance to save his grandpa from Pegasus, Mai shows up and sees the situation. Now, this goes one of two ways, depending on the version of this scene. In the manga, Mai offers her extra star chips to Yugi as a thank you for saving her from panic. At first, Yugi rejects the star chips, saying he can't take them due to not wanting to be selfish, but after a speech by Joey about putting aside your pride to protect those that are precious to you, with Mai adding that the main reason she even got these extra star chips in the first place was just so she could see the gang again, because they called her a friend despite everything she said to them, Yugi eventually accepts the star chips while promising not to let Atem argue with him about this. It's a sweet scene that really highlights how much our characters actually care for each other and how good deeds can sometimes lead to good rewards. But in the anime, while Yugi still refuses to take Mai's star chips, Mai immediately starts insulting him, saying he's not all that great after all. She also challenges him to a duel, even though it's clear to everyone right now that Yugi is not in a good condition. And this leads to Taya having a duel with Mai, in which Mai just constantly trash talks the both of them. Oh yeah, she still wants to give Yugi the star chips, but she seems so dismissive of Yugi's feelings in this episode, it honestly pisses me off the anime would do something like this. But while that may have been the case for Duelist Kingdom, the anime did give Mai some support in Battle City. Or so they thought. You see, in Battle City, Mai barely duels. We never learn about any of her opponents, and we never see any of her qualifying duels, which is kind of a running theme with the side characters. And the first duel she does have is against the final boss of the arc. Obviously, Mai was never going to win, but somehow the anime still found a way to hurt her character even more. Because you see, the two versions of the duel go a little bit differently. In the manga, Mai is on the ropes the entire time, while in the anime, she's holding her own against Merrick. And while that sounds like the anime is finally treating Mai right, it's not really when you think about it. Because in the manga, when Mai takes the Winged Dragon of Ra from Merrick, it's painted as a desperation move, one that could turn the tide of the entire duel. But in the anime, her stealing Ra is painted as a move of extravagance, one where she would not only beat Merrick, but beat him in style, even though her Harpy ladies were more than enough to win her the duel. This not only makes Merrick's victory feel even more out of nowhere, but it just makes Mai look like a jerk again. Like, you have victory in the palm of your hand. Stop showing off, especially when your life's on the line. But all this pales in comparison to hands down the biggest change to Mai's character, waking the dragons. Now, before I hear some of you typing,
"Oh, that's a filler arc, it doesn't count."
First of all, who cares? Just because something is filler doesn't mean it's allowed to tarnish a character's legacy. And second, shut up. Now, let me make this clear. I don't hate the direction this arc took Mai's character. It makes sense that Mai would still feel terrified of Merrick even after he was defeated. It also makes sense that she would be upset that no one seemed to respect her abilities like Yugi's, Kaiba's, or Joey's. Both of these could be easily taken advantage of and warped by someone like Darks to make her join him. And personally, I think this arc made Mai a way more interesting character. My only problem with this is that the arc never finished her story. You see, after Mai turns back to the good side and gets off-screened by Raphael, still mad about that, the last time we see her in the arc is after Darts' defeat, where, without saying goodbye, she rides off saying that she needs time to fix herself and that someday she'll own up to everything she's done. Now that's a really cool way to have her end off the arc, but that's not how she should have left the show. She promises to come back, but never does. And I can hear some of you saying,
"Well, it was filler, they couldn't address it in the canon story."
There was another filler arc right after this one. Mai even makes a quick cameo. You're telling me we couldn't have a little continuity between two back-to-back arcs? Not one scene where she returns to apologize? Mai and Joey had one of the best relationships in Yu-Gi-Oh's history, and yet the anime leaves all of us on a cliffhanger with no resolution. Even in the final episode where we should be seeing everyone come back for one last hurrah, Mai is nowhere near the gang. Instead, she's teaming with Vivian Wong from the KC Grand Championship to take on the Paradox Brothers on the Great Wall of China. Yu-Gi-Oh's weird, man. But when all's said and done, Mai just ended up being a warning to the main female duelists of nearly every series. Sure, they may be hyped up as a threat. They may even get a couple big wins. But in the end, unless one day a girl becomes the main character, they'll just be forgotten about all the same. Although, I guess not all hope is lost. I hear the Rush anime treats girls pretty well. Although if you do want to talk about forgotten characters, well, there's one that stands head and shoulders above the rest. But I've already talked about her in depth, if you're interested.